15 minutes. We put 15 minutes for breakfast. I think now it's time to start. I hope we are going to be business-like. We're not going to delay unnecessarily. We know that the department is doing very well. Particularly that you are one of our shining departments where you are getting clean audit. So we hope that we can keep that trend going forward. We are here today to receive your second quarter performance report and your third quarter performance report. And also an update in terms of implementation of the committee resolution. So those are the major items that we are dealing with today. So I would like to formally welcome all of you and make sure that we start the meeting formally. This is our second session. We started at 8 ourselves with the briefing. And now we are on session 2 in terms of the agenda. I'm told we are actually live on our Facebook page, so we would also like to welcome our listeners out there, our people out there who are also part of this meeting. So without much ado, I believe that the agenda is there on the screen. As I've already indicated, I've dealt with issues of welcoming, and now we'll be handing over to the department to do the formal welcome and the formal presentation of the issues that were raised. And then for there will be questions and comments by honorable members of the portfolio committee on sports, arts and culture. And the last item will be announcement, and we'll close. It is almost just after 1:15, and I believe that we won't necessarily go beyond 2 hours so that we have time to do other things. The Honorable MEC, I know that we're having a Fana tomorrow, so there might be some other logistics that you need to deal with, including making sure that we continuously advertise the game so that our people out there can come and fill up the stadium. And I also believe that all of us will join you there and attend the game. When the Fana is here, we should all go there and support them. Thank you very much, honorable members. Any formal move for the adoption of the agenda? Honorable members, we need to adopt our agenda. Honorable Max is moving. Dr. Malewana, Honorable Dr. Malewana, secretary. Thank you very much. So, without much ado, I hand over to you, Honorable MC. I think I should formally introduce myself. I'm Falaz Amdaga, the chairperson of the portfolio committee, and maybe allow honorable members to also introduce themselves.
Thank you very much, Thank you, Chairperson. I'm Christina Mohale, and member of this portfolio committee.
Thank you, and good morning, sir. Member of this portfolio committee.
Good morning, Chair. If Mark is a member of the portfolio.
Chair Nimalawan, a member of the portfolio committee.
We can also allow our staff, support staff to introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lucia Mudiva, a community coordinator.
My name is Faith Mutsutu, committee researcher.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Sebu Kwata, from Legal Services to the Legislature.
My name is Julia Matala from Communication Services in the Community Center. Good morning, Chairperson. Everyone. My name is Kate Masalena, Office of the Corruption. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rita Umado, support staff.
Thank you very much. Oh, yes.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members and the department. It's Matema Ramala, support staff.
Okay.
Good morning, Good morning, everyone. My name is Sidifa Shiva, community coordinator.
Good morning, Mawala Nitibziba Communication Services.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We're done with the MC. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, greetings to members of the community and the staff. I'm Flani Jeruma Senko, MEC for Sports, Arts and Culture. With the leadership of the administration, but Chair, I will request this meeting to know that the HOD, Meram Hopa, is on sick leave. Appointed Memo Khonyana to act as the HOD and allow me to send Memo Khonyana to you so that she can introduce some of the members of the staff. Memo Khonyana.
Thank you very much, MEC, and thank you very much, Chairperson. We are accompanied by the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Mbasa Gumla, and we are also accompanied by the Chief Risk Officer, Maria Peha, the Chief Director also, Mampa Mabore, Chief Director for Corporate Services. And next to her is the director that is responsible for strategic planning in the department, is Mayor Rachi Opa Fulufel. And next to her, we've got a director that is responsible for infrastructure coordination in the department, is Mayor Sarah Ndlankom. And next to her, we have the office of the MEC being represented by the head of office, Mr. Ezom, Mr. Seba. And just check. Office of the MEC also is being represented by Mr. Patamfaka, who is a parliamentary officer. We also have Mr. Bashir as the private secretary of the MEC. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC and Honorable Acting HOD. I still hand over to you to then continue with item number 9, briefing by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture on the following: implementation of committee resolutions 2024-25 second quarter report and 2024-25 third quarter report on 9.3. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Chairperson, and thanks for having invited us to this oversight meeting. We have sent a package, Chairperson, to the Portfolio Committee for consideration. Just to summarize the highlights, that package has got 3 colors, Chair. The first color is green, the second color is king color.
Yellow.
Yellow, yeah, I never do a mistake. We want to orange, so you don't know which color. But thanks for the clarity. Yellow, and the third color is red. And I don't think you will see red here, because red is non-implemented. Yellow means not fully implemented. Green is fully implemented. So you might not see red here, Chair, because there is no resolution that we did not implement. Yeah. So let's go to page 1 of the resolutions. Number 1, but before we had a session with the Public Accounts Committee. There are very critical issues that they have raised, and fortunately the chairperson was part of that meeting. And I feel strongly, Chair, that some of those issues the Portfolio Committee need to deal with, so that we account to the Portfolio Committee with regard to those outstanding SCOPA issues. Reason being that we might not go back to SCOPA any longer, and if we don't deal with these issues at the level of the Portfolio Committee, we might not be accounted for. Just to formally indicate that one, Chair. And we have also agreed that those issues need to be packaged and be sent to the Portfolio Committee for oversight. Because, Honorable Market, this Portfolio Committee will no more we are committed to sustenance of clean products. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yeah. Number one, Chair, it deals with the unfinished infrastructure projects, particularly the libraries. You are Mambani, Chaulo, Fontaine, and Buchanan. We are giving progress with regard to this libraries, Chair. And I will request the Portfolio Committee to note that this question repeats itself on a number of quarters. So and allow me to deal with it once so that when it comes to another quarter, that will be the same progress. With regard to Fontaine Library, Chair, we have achieved practical completion with the completion certificate. That certificate was sent out by December the 2nd last year. So we are no more talking about the finished project here. We are done. Maybe invite the Portfolio Committee to accompany us there. With regard to Chabelo, which is around Palale, we are at 99% by the 31st of March this year. We'll be waiting for our practical completion certificate. But the project is completed. We just wait for that certificate of assurance that they have completed it. Where we still have challenges, Chair, and we have to be honest with you yourself, is Mambani. Mambani, we are at 81% physical progress. The challenge here is that the contractor on site had issues with SARS, and when Public Works was supposed to initiate the certificate so that we paid them, we couldn't pay because they were not complying with SARS. That in itself has hampered that progress, but they faced the challenge. As we are speaking, the commitment by Public Works and the contractors that by within 4th of April this year, this project will be physically completed. That is why it has got a yellow shade. The other one where we have got challenge B, and there are some activities that the report that speaks to our progress, Koko Mambani, external works 92%, fencing 90%, etc., etc. That's why overall performance is 81. We have broken it down in terms of different activities that have to be done there. Saulo, like we always complained, in the last meeting we have indicated that they have terminated the second contractor, but suffice to say that the chair, a new contractor was appointed February this year by Public Works. They made the site handover. Our take is that this project is going to take some time because it overlaps to the other financial year. But we have put strict monitoring tools between ourselves and Public Works to make sure that they must perform as expected. Question, should I deal with all of them, Chair? Should I deal with all of them? If it?
Well, I'm not sure because members went through the items. Just take us to where the serious issues.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not sure they will remember.
Yeah.
But of course we know that we've got our public out there who also want to follow.
Yeah.
So you will have to balance it with that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Our main challenge is Saulu Chair, but we are convinced that after the appointment of this new contractor, maybe they will finish the project. But we have put strict monitoring tools, administratively and particularly technically, between ourselves and the Department of Public Works to bi-weekly visit that project to make sure that they implement it as expected. Number two, the department should finish the department should finish the Portfolio Committee with a report regarding the upgrades, renovation and construction of museums. We can report here, Chair, that with regard to Muti Wabatonga, we have implemented everything. We are fine there. That's why it's green. Zatan Museum also, we have implemented everything, detailed, we are fine. Skuman Dal Museum. We have handed over this project, Chair, we have opened it, but there was some external work that was still outstanding. We requested additional money and they gave us 2 million. As we are speaking, we have installed boreholes, there's landscaping that is happening there, electrical maintenance, routine maintenance. The contractor might finish this project by the end of this month. But it's not about the physical infrastructure, it's about the landscape outside there and maintenance of electricity. So by the end of March, we will be done. That's why we are saying it's not fully completed, but the work is on site. Number 3, Honorable Chair, the portfolio wanted to us to elaborate on the support that we provide to our athletes and academies. We are saying this one is 100% fully implemented. We are giving medical services, education and life skills, nutrition, sports codes, strengthening of the conditions, medical screening. There are a number of things that we are doing to make sure that we support our athletes. Number 4, breakdown on the provincial theatre. Now I'm here to check. You remember I was crying during the last meeting in terms of progress on the theatre. And I can convincingly indicate that the expected budget that we need to spend is 40% PMT. And the Chair, I got a very serious confirmation by the CFO that month end we will package everything, and the work there that has been done is there. The site clearance has been done 100%. We are drilling 100%. Earthworks is still ongoing, but we are at par. We are at 32% infrastructure progress, but the 8% will be the one that will be paid. The commitment is there, the money, I think now the CFO was signing those payments. So I'm happy in terms of progress of the theatre. Those destabilizations that were done by mafias, construction mafias, are gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
The delay is no more than...
No, the delay is no more there. So by March, we want to commit that we'll have spent 100% of the 40% because I can start at 3 and 10. And then with number 5, department should develop a mechanism to monitor the performance of service providers. But also this one is 100%. We're doing it now after we've complained about the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure and Roads. We have established a bi-weekly meetings between ourselves and the department where we monitor our contractors on bi-weekly basis. And we also include the provincial treasury chair, which are the custodian of the PES. The National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture is also part of the monitoring meetings that we have on bi-weekly. That's why we don't have very serious challenges now in terms of key implementation of the infrastructure project, except Elaya Tsawulu, as we have indicated. Number 6, accounting officer of Sports, Arts and Culture and Public Works should be part of the monitoring and evaluation team. We are here to confirm that both accounting officers chair they meet on monthly basis. After the bi-weekly meeting will then report to the accounting officer in terms of progress on the project, and obviously on monthly basis then they will come to the executing authority and brief me in terms of the progress made. And if I have to do a special visit, I go there on site and check all these infrastructure projects. Number 7, ensure that contractors are placed on strict terms conditions. Chair, we have our contract management is being done through a joint building Contractors Committee. There's a Joint Building Contractor Committee agreement that dictates what is it that jointly together with Department of Public Works we need to, the checklist, where we monitor and evaluate the performance of the contractor. So that's why when coming to issues of monitoring now, at least we've upped the game, the systems are well. That's why there is progress in terms of some of our implementation of the infrastructure. Number 8, implementation of portfolio committee resolutions and report the progress quarterly. Chair, we are one department that complies with your request when you want our quarterly report to submit on time. I don't remember any situation, Chair, where we did fail to submit our reports, and we are doing that. That's why we don't have that red flag in terms of implementation of resolutions. The department will develop a plan to tighten SCM unit as recommended by Auditor General. Yeah, thanks very much. With regard to this one, I want to indicate that we clearly have intervened. We have also appointed an acting director because the previous director has requested transfer to education. The post has been advertised, shortlisting has happened. Will be appointing the director. But systems have been put in place to make sure that there is a consistent supply management processes and there is compliance with regard to the supply chain regulations. Finish the committee on the progress on dealing with the Mapungu Tabito case. That legacy challenge, Chairperson. You remember where he didn't score part? I or that we reflected because of lack of capacity by our Martin course. And the state what? And we even made some proposals to score power. Maybe if we can, the state attorney can be equipped in such a manner that there is a dedicated attorney or advocate who will deal with cases of a particular cluster. When they say, we say Maseko deal with social cluster, we not deal with infrastructure cluster. That unit does not have capacity, Chair. And unfortunately, there is nothing we can do. But we are in a situation where maybe it's the portfolio committee and the legislature who can coin a resolution that will try to make sure that that unit gets capacitated. We are losing a lot of cases because they don't even appear. At times you just lose a case, not that you don't have a case, but because they did not even show up in court. And the judge will then give an order against some of the departments. That is the frustration that we find ourselves in, and really only on this one. Maybe you can use the legislature authority to coin a resolution that will compel a cabinet or government to look into the matter. But I can tell you that unit is failing us, to be honest. With regard to filling of vacant posts, let me acknowledge, Chair, that we are not moving as expected on this item. That's why it is yellow. We have not fully implemented. And it's one item that you have an organizational structure, approved post with budget, but you have a staggered way of implementing it. Maybe you can recruit 40 posts for this financial year, next financial year, and another 30 posts until you reach your target. So it is not easy to fully implement it because others will have to deal with current financial year. But where we are now, we have put in systems in place. together with the corporate unit, to make sure that this recruitment process is at least faster. It assists us to capture the data and make sure that we put the committees to run this process. But I'm not that much happy with regard to this one. We are not at that level where we want to, but we have developed some strategies of intervention so that we can deal with. Item 4, Honorable Chair, still talk to those libraries and allow the information is the same. You have Fontaine, you have Chale, you have Mampane, and then Saulu. And I will request the Honorable House to allow me to pass it because it will be the same information. Number 5, it deals with we must ensure that incomplete infrastructure projects are completed in the financial year. Chair, we can proudly say we are done with Mula Mula. You remember the historical challenge Mula Mula. We even requested the traditional authority, the Evergreen Village, Kenyan Buka, Kenyan Furniture, something that we could not do. We were able to unlock that social challenge that used to characterize that area. We are putting our books there, our furniture there. We are happy. We will negotiate with them so that we go and open. Yeah, and we are optimistic. Chair, we are also being assisted by the veteran Tadema Mashamba because it's from that corner. So we've engaged him with the HOD so that we get that type of an intervention. I think we are happy now. Fontaine, like I said, it's fine. Uchabere, like I said, is fine. The only outstanding ones are those ones, Mampane and Chaulo, as I indicated. Item 6, the department must ensure intense project management on site to avoid unnecessary costly projects. That's why, Chair, we have organized project management tools that are held on bi-weekly monitoring meetings by ourselves and the Department of Public Works. And that's why we are beginning to register progress with regard to our infrastructure. Number 7, developing a strategy to deal with the challenge of failure to complete infrastructure projects. We are now planning very, very well in terms of our project. The first financial year, it's about designs. Then the second financial year is about activation, the fiscal construction. So that we should also, when we are going to develop our budget, the cost of the design will tell us the amount of money that we require. So our planning process now is up to scratch with regard to our infrastructure project. Number 8, consequence management should be implemented on the under expenditure. Shall we have one department that is spending? Even now, I was talking to the CFO. I can assure you on record, we are going to spend, it cannot be 100%, mostly 99.something%, reasonably, because there's no government institution that can be on the dot in terms of rent and sales. But we are saying we are going to spend the whole money come the end of this financial year. So we no longer have the problem of underspending. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's development. That's why the shade is green there, Chair. Yeah. Yeah, the department must ensure that they recover 541,000. Particularly here, Chair, you were referring to termination of contractors. And during that period, you find that over maybe some natural causes, they damage the work done. When you get another new contractor, must start the back, and money is affected there. We wrote a letter to Public Works, Chair, because these are the people who must take action against the contractors. These are the people who are appointing these contractors. We couldn't find joy from Public Works. It's on record. We couldn't find joy, but what we did we requested the Treasury to investigate how much money and how can we get that money back. But honestly, in terms of procedure, Public Works, as the custodian of the implementation of the project, was supposed to do that. So unfortunately, it's like they don't have the capacity, which is an unfortunate situation. But at least Aradula were elevated to the Treasury for them to intervene. The department should it is the issue of the vetting and the screening of contractors before the appointment. In as much as this is the responsibility of the Public Works Honorable Chair, we have requested them to conduct due diligence. After the change, the evaluation and the adjudication, we requested them to have some sort of legal services just to cross-check the content, whether the document complies with the necessary requirements as expected. So we are just doing that through them so that there is due diligence before the award. Marakere, we are dealing with human beings, vulnerable neighborhood. Some of them might also navigate around those things. But right now, our take is that this is what they have to do. So that's why we want to avoid the issue of termination of contractors due to incapacity. So once there is that process, we show that everything will be done according to the prescribed supply chain regulations. Implement the necessary disciplines to ensure that value is derived from money spent. That is our commitment, Chair. We impose cost containment measures. We make sure that in the selection process they appoint the best. And we also conduct market research so that we get quality product. That's why we are fine with that one for now. The department, we are on green. The departments must collaborate with relevant departments such as social development, office of the premier, to ensure persons with disability business comply with preferential procurement. The target has been achieved, even in terms of recruitment. We are not compromising about that one, like we committed in the last meeting. The next time we'll give you a report that speaks to specifics. And I hope my learned friend will be the happiest one, because I know I'm but this one, we must just deal with it. It's a matter of policy. It cannot be postponed. Underspending on cultural affairs and programs on sports. Chair, it was around the theater, and we are there now. We have implemented, we are spending now. The memorandum of understanding signed between ourselves and the Department of Sports assisted us also to spend on our sports and recreation vote, because some of those programs we were supposed to jointly run them with the Department of Education. After signing that MOU, I think all systems are running, Chair. We don't have a very serious challenge with regard to that one. Furnished the committee with the planned intervention the department put in place to ensure that underspending as well as overspending is avoided. Monthly monitoring system has been there, Honorable Chair. The executive management, led by, in this instance, the CFO, is able to track these issues and make sure that each and every unit spend accordingly. And if there is any red light, he will highlight it up front so that there is an intervention. number 15, 30 days policy, we are in compliance. Our service providers have reported that within 30 days we don't have a challenge any longer, Chair. With regard to GBV, we are one of the department after the summit that was held last year. We were directed as department to make sure that we take this program serious to department. We are one of those departments that we implement this program. Malaba Haufi, we invited the industry, creative industry, the artists. Bernally, all the artists, Mona Honorable Chair, dealing with this matter. We have coined a resolution. We are going to work with them to make sure that they become our influencers in making sure that we deal with GBV. We have got a very clear plan of visiting all our districts and specifically targeting male, Chair, in all these districts. Take these artists with them so that we go and conscientize men around GBV, because we are the perpetrators 90%. The department must ensure that it fast-tracks the appointment of EPWP workers to continue narrowing. Chair, we are on this program. The only challenge that we get is that some of the EPWP personnel, they get some greener pastures somewhere. Maybe you can find 4 or 5 bar resign and go somewhere, and we need also to fill those vacancies. That's where the challenge. But generally, I think we are doing very, very well. The department must conduct those monitoring in all the projects under construction, and I've talked about it, Chair. The department must ensure that training of people who should conduct club development is undertaken in the next quarter. That is part of the normal supply chain management process, Chair. That is been done, and I think this was the last one. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Honorable members, there is the response from the implementation of the report for about implementation of the resolutions of the committee. So I don't know if we have some follow-up questions, questions, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, through to the MEC, I've got 3 things to just ask or mention. I also share your concern regarding the legal matters that we are losing. And what is more concerning is that we're not losing matters that don't have merits. We're losing matters where they don't appear. I've seen it personally as well, where default judgments are granted. When I look at the reported cases, the department needs to bring rescission judgments, and then we're always on the back foot. And it's one thing to blame the state attorney, but it seems there may be a problem within the department. Because surely we have a legal manager who should also know the process and say, well, a summons is issued on this day, we've got 10 days to defend, another 20 days to file our plea. 3 or 4 days before the plea is due, follow up with the state attorney. And I think that is something that you should look into. Something that may also assist, and it will assist us in our oversight role, maybe in the quarterly report, include a section for legal matters. And it can be a quite simple summary per legal matter. We don't have details because we are also publishing it, but summons issued on 1 January, plea due on this day. Then as soon as we see, well, the plea is due, your department has written certain letters to the state attorney and they don't respond, then it gives you the teeth to start writing to the head of that department and say, well, that specific official, that specific state attorney is not doing his work. Let's start with accountability processes against him. So that is my proposal. Let's start including that into this report, and we also have a look at that. And I don't think it's limited to your department. I think all the departments should actually bring to these committees so that we can also have a look and assist you in putting that pressure on other departments or state attorneys. Chair, through you, the second one, more a question than anything else. How did the department determine which projects to take on and which to assist? And I'm asking this because I really don't know. For example, let's say Polokwane Museum. I've driven the other day past it and I see it's really in a dilapidated state. It falls under the Polokwane municipality. What steps and how can we convince the department to also assist there? I'm not saying we must help Polokwane municipality, just an example. Or Bokani Malapa, or Makapan's grave. I've been there the other day with my kids. But the place has been stolen. So if we do an oversight, we go to some historical sites, I mean a play can't be that much. How can we assist and bring up that heritage sites? And because now I'm taking my kids to a cave, but no one knows what it's about. But if the plague is there, at least we can educate them again. Just a suggestion on that. Lastly, Chair, through you, the last one is more tongue in the cheek, because you said we are spending and we are going to spend the whole money. Well, you sound just like my wife, and she's doing also a good job on that. And it's just tongue in the cheek. But thank you.
Mark? What's next? Honorable Malewan. Dr. Malewan.
Well, thank you, Chair. Honorable Doug, and greetings to honorable members of the MEC and the team. I wanted to emphasize on what the Honorable has said because the severity and the risk that the state attorneys bring into department require that the department also prove that they've done their due diligence on time, because although we raise it and advocate that there must be improvement, it should be found that sector department have done their work, so that we are able to have to put the case down about that. If it is found that there is shown work, then it will defeat the purpose that we will want to address. I think we should appreciate that and give the department opportunity to make sure to go and check properly that your internal personnel in that field have done their work and they've done it in time. Yeah, I think that's the first one. In fact, this is the second one. The first one was that we should appreciate, Chair, the fact that they responded to those resolutions properly and fully as a department. And you know it's difficult in other departments.
Yeah.
That's why you must go to those big departments and make this impact further. And that was off the record. The filling of post is my comment, Chair. I'm not necessarily asking questions. In the same vein, I think the department must also have a plan that we can be able to see on whether they have intention or they are taking action to want to employ or to fill fund position. What was responded is sufficient for now, but it's not sufficient enough for us to make follow-up. It was going to be good if we have the plan that they have submitted, that is approved per year, so that we are able to see what are the bottlenecks, whether it's from them or is from other approving agencies which are delaying you. I think that's very much important. We appreciate the work that you make in follow up with the Department of Public with regard to the recovery that is required. But
is only correspondence, or I've heard you have meeting with them, but I think you may have a bit go there. What exactly are you doing to want them to do their work? Because in the long run, Chair, they will fail the department, and we may not accept the response that says the department. We want this department to tell us this is what we have done, this is what the problem that we are meeting as we go. And I must appreciate the fact that you involved. I must not be tempted to ask you questions for the next report, but you should appreciate that you are involving artists with regard to gender-based violence and femicide. That is a good thing. I think we'll encourage that to continue doing that, because this matter is a matter for efforts. It's a societal matter. It needs all people that needed to be involved. And I think you have started well with regard to do that. On a lighter note, please hate words like cost containment and austerity. Hate them if you want to, because you have just said you are going to spend. But you are friendly to it, cost containment, which are related to austerity, may cause you problem, because you may be comfortable to do that. You know, the whole of the government is left cost containment. You must hate them. If you hate them, you spend on time. By the time they want to cost contain you, they value you have committed to all your money, because your budget cannot be taken. 2 rand from it will not be enough. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Malibana. Honorable Linda and Honorable Matobi the last.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to all of you colleagues once more. Mine is just to applaud the department, especially what you doing, Honorable MC and the team. Let me just start by appreciating the progress report. In all that we have been reporting, it's impressive. We are very much impressed. Also, I have to indicate that once we attended the geographical naming workshop, which was attended by almost all the progressive structures within our province. Really was an eye-opener to most of us. And I would like to encourage the department to proceed with the implementation of the resolutions that were taken there during that workshop. I was happy that the workshop was primarily attended by even the traditional leaders, the very primary stakeholders. I also want to appreciate the progress report around our libraries. You will agree with me that previously we had so many problems, like for example around Flefontaine and other libraries. But as per the report, the Honorable MC, we are happy that for something is taking place, and definitely the projects will be finished in due course. And I think, Chair, what is left for us is to undergo some oversight trips to all these projects. For example, I had the Honorable MEC talking about the official opening of the Smansdal Museum, which he, of course, indicated to us even before he went there. So I think it's important that we undergo the oversight visit to such entities. I think I must also applaud the department when I was taking the issue of vacancies, even though you indicated that there is still a lot of work to be done. But the moment you indicated that you were able to appoint even people with disability, women, for that matter. I think we are in a good cause. So I really generally want to appreciate the progress report as presented by the Honorable Mr. Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you for those appreciative words. Honorable Martin.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I was a bit worried, but when Honorable Masego was presenting, my fears were contained. Because I saw a very big fire and I was asking you.
A big what?
Fire. While we were looking for it, so I was asking myself if I will really going to be able to see a fire. Because we had fire over here. We were living here. In the 8 hours in the morning and we won't be able to work so. But this that may be the first issue, Chair, that I'm going to raise. And I want to first have a disclaimer on it. It's an issue that I cannot concretely speak with conviction that from where I'm seated is a verified fact. I read it somewhere in one of our documents, not from this portfolio but other documents. That the department has completed 8 libraries. And you are planning to construct another new 4 libraries. And this 8 that has been completed is not being utilized. So I just want to establish if that is correct. Is that a matter of fact? I had it when I was presenting that pandemic and disaster thing. Because I would not understand why would we construct 4 new libraries when we still have 8 state-of-the-art libraries that are not working. Why the resources that we want to channel to the 4 new libraries don't redirect them to that 8 so that they become effectively utilized. So, but I'm speaking without concrete fact, which effectively means that you correct me. I did not necessarily wanted to say I'm speaking under correction. The other point is with regards to, you see, Honorable Masego, we can't give up. And I'll be the happiest man on earth if you become the first MEC to successfully recoup this money from Anthony Hamilton and whoever is involved. I will host you for a host land. That is Easter. So we're not going to give up. The failures, you see, state active, it is not, you see, for me, it is not about capacity. It is about failures. It's people that don't understand what exactly they need. And all departments must be treated equally. Because I know at your level here, or whatever level, I don't know, Department of Health has been granted a permission. They've even established what we call a panel of their own legal representatives, so that they are able to deal with failures of the state acting on their own as the department. So I want to compliment what Honorable Max said. So I would suggest that you need to get that permission. Because that money, you see, you cannot just pay a person, okay, the person is not a problem. The problem is the agent involved. And this is a person who is in South Africa. So let's get a permission to use our own so that we're able to recoup this money. You see, those ones, I don't take them serious. Because there are also allegations of them colluding, especially with this medical legal claims. They collude with people. We don't go and defend, and there, when the order is granted, they then get something back. So I would recommend that, Chair, that the department must look into. And the issue of filling of vacant posts, I think I would also compliment what Honorable Malwan was saying. I was made aware after so many years of people coming in this boardroom and misrepresent facts. So it was only last week, is it last week, Honorable Malwan? Yeah, it was only last week when we were made aware that people sometimes deliberately comes here and misrepresent facts, and we did our own fact-finding mission and understood exactly what is happening. So the non-filling of vacant posts, it can't be a problem, Honorable Masa, because with the presentation that we got from Treasury is that every year, every department would submit their recruitment plan for that financial year. And it takes only 2 weeks at the maximum to approve the recruitment plan. And once it is approved by Treasury, it goes to something called PPMC. And PPMC approves that. And Treasury makes funds available. That is what they explain. So I'm loitering under that impression. And also, not all posts. Remember, some posts are vacant because somebody went somewhere. Another post is vacant because somebody, it can't be by grace of God, but by something of God has left this earth. And you don't need permission from Treasury to fill those posts. You must just fill them. I mean, you gave us an example that somebody requested transfer from your department to education. So that post is still there and funded. So we cannot be taking more than 90 days to fill that post. So I think we need to be yes, the other issue out of interest is with regards to, it's out of interest. Because I remember the last time we had an interaction with you, you indicated that you were still in discussions with the MEC of Education, for education, in relation to school sports. So I want to establish how far are we with that particular process. And why, you see, I don't understand this red tape in government. Because sports is, you are the custodian of sports in this province. And when you want to do sports, why should you seek, validation from somebody in another department? So I just want to establish how far are we with that process of engagements, and at what level can we then begin to say enough is enough, or going to resuscitate school sports? Because in other areas it's there. And other people, they are doing it privately, and we appreciate that. There is this thing. You see, I've observed here in Polokwane that we have, there is another method of making money these days. Mushrooming of many sporting academies here. On Saturdays, if you go to Pitamkawa, old Pitamkawa, those rugby fields and cricket fields, you'll find many children there doing sports. There are many mushrooming sporting academies, and I'm not sure if the department has a way of trying to regulate these things. if there are certain things that we need to do to ensure that they comply. You know, others, you see, somebody can just wake up and say, I'm opening an academy. Then you have parents paying 600 per month, all those things. You have many kids there without, you know, any security measures and anything, without any ambulances, and you never know what would happen if a disaster comes. So I want to establish if are we trying to, don't we find it necessary to regularize these academies? Well, it's a good thing. Some of us, our children, are beneficiaries of such things. Our kids have benefited, but we want them to be regulated. And also, do we as a department have plans to partner with privately organized, you know, sporting activities that are well established? You see, I'll give you an example. There are many soccer tournaments in this province, but there are those that are more established than others. There are those that scouts from various PSL teams would always want to be part of. So are we not finding it necessary as a department, in one way or the other, seek to partner with those things? You see, because for me, from where I'm sitting, I would have appreciated a situation wherein every time when I attend a community organized sporting activity, I would see, even if it's a little banner, a Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. And also they knows how we've been dealing with this at the community level. So I'm just saying, if you were to draw a study, you look at how many PSL players currently, both at PSL and DDC, have been produced by those who won the tournament, have been produced by this Manamela tournament. There are many, the Denzel, which, and all these tournaments are broadcasted live by this super sport. So I would love that we look into that and find ways. And partnering does not necessarily mean that we are injecting funds, but we can still partner in terms of just, you know, branding. It's partnership. And everybody that comes out of that tournament, we can simply take claim that we have contributed. The last thing, Chair, Mapungu. Mapungu Festival. So popular. And all of us would love to always be part of it. And this thing, I would assume everything myself that. Is there a way we can expand it more? I want to draw an example, maybe because I'm obsessed with football. I want to draw an example of your Makufe, because I want to accommodate Kaizer Chiefs in this. Like why are we not taking the example on Makufe, that after every Makufe there is a Makufe Cup? Why are we not introducing the Makufe Cup? I know we once tried to introduce it, as to why it failed, I don't know. As part of Because remember, Mapungu is arts, culture, and what celebration. And football is also our culture. So can we introduce that aspect? Just to see. Because you see, I always wish that we can do things differently. And we cannot just only shine on clean audits. And we appreciate that. MEC, THOD, CFO, and the rest of the team. We appreciate your efforts in ensuring that you sustain clean audits. And we must give credit where it's due, Honorable Masaba. Keep up the good work. You can see me later this evening, whatever that I'm going to give you, you must declare it. A bottle of something. Because we must give credit where it's due. And when you do well, we must tell you. We cannot just always be armchair critics. When the department is doing well and we understand it's a team effort, but of course knowing your personality, there is no way they can't do well because I know you are a well-received person. And I think they are shocked that they have an MEC who is so much receiving. It might be for them, it might be for the first time. So just keep up the good work.
When is that confirmed?
I'm speaking from the personal knowledge of Honorable Masai, and I know that is where everybody is. Because sometimes people speak somewhere and they don't know that we know. Even ordinary junior staff members, I think some of them they also appreciate. There is one old woman, I'll give you her name, that she said that you were the first MEC to greet her. And I took that as a blessing. So I know I'm stubborn, but today is because I see the good work on the chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those nice words, Honorable Mate, and all the comments made by members and questions and suggestions. And I've had a lot of suggestions coming from all of you. And of which some of the suggestions and some needs research in terms of how we're going to deal with it, and I think we will have to then comment and respond to some of the issues raised. But obviously those that are actually suggestions and the issues of Mapungu Cup and others, and I think they are very much interesting. Thank you very much, honorable members, for those productive words. Over to you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Chair, and we highly appreciate the comment by members. We have noted the number of proposals that they put in place, and with the capacity of the administration I think some of them will go and find expression in our planning processes in the department. But allow me to deal with 3-4 high-level issues, and I will hand over to the administration to deal with certain details with regard to the sectors raised. Chair, the issue of our MOU with education, the reason why we immediately after the 7th administration, we felt we need to collaborate with the Department of Education, school sports. It is correct in terms of powers and functions, sports are our competence as a department. But school sports, in school sports we've got learners, chair that belongs to another department. We don't have direct access to the learners as Department of Sports. So which is for us to effectively coordinate school sports, you need an agreement with education, which is very, very much critical. That's why we have signed that MOU. We have put a technical team constituted by both sports, arts and culture and the Department of Education, led by the HODs, That technical team is crafted an implementation plan that takes us to districts, to schools. Education is also doing its part by writing circulars so that the schools must be made up when sports organizers, they must resuscitate soccer, netball, and other sporting codes in different schools. It is not going to be an easy process. It's going to take some time, Chair, because I can really run from a school sports for some time. For a school sports, there's no one but in the deep rural end, school sport died a natural death. So we must go there and start to resuscitate. And we have started, we have got a program of visiting our sports confederations in all districts. We have started in Skukune, we'll be going to Waterberg, we'll be coming to Vitamkaba, Capricorn, and then Bembe and Mopane. But it is on record, Chair, that with regard to Bembe and Mopane, I can assure you, these two districts in terms of sports are one of the most highly organized ones in terms of our report. But we have got a roadshow to interact with all stakeholders, both in education and sports, to resuscitate, to just bring that thing back to our different structures. And that thing is going to assist us to supply these schools with equipment, because they must register, they must play for the leagues. There are certain conditions that they need to satisfy before we can give them equipment, your gear, the keeper, the ball, whatever. So not each and every school is going to get it. Not each and every soccer club is going to get it, because there are certain requirements. Even those clubs, they must affiliate to SAFA leagues so that they can qualify. So it's not as easy as saying, there are certain conditions that a particular team needs to satisfy. So we are still working on that thing, trying to consult different stakeholders across the length and breadth of the problem. That is the one that I thought politically I must deal with. The other issue, Chair, is the input from Honorable Max. It's Max. Yeah, from Honorable Max. On the issue of Yamakapane, the administration will deal with priority on refurbishment of libraries and museums. But let me deal with issue of Yamakapane and couple it with our Mapungu heritage sites. These are two internationally proclaimed heritage sites. And in terms of powers and functions, they fall within the national department. It is not our mandate. We've got a MINMEC, when is it? 27. Yeah, 27 and 28 March, Chairperson, we've got a MINMEC. And we have discussed that with the department to say, after the minister has requested us to put issues on the agenda that we need to elevate. These are the two projects that we have identified. Makapan and Mapungu. Personally, I went to Mapungu. I still have a trip to go to Makapan before the meeting, so that when I go there, I talk to what I know. We want to elevate it because anyway, it resides there. So that there be money, they must come and refurbish it so that it gets to its operational status, and the necessary capacity is being brought back there, because they've got baffled toil at those projects. And unfortunately, I can't use my resources in terms of regulations, charter and financial regulations. I can't use our resources here to refurbish them. You need the minister. It's top on the agenda, I can tell you, in the next meeting. If you this time around, when we come back to the next step of the committee, we'll be giving you update in terms of what is it that we've agreed at that level. The other thing here, recovering of money from contractors, where we said the public works we don't find joy. Well, what we did formally, we have written to Treasury. The Treasury is the custodian of our finances in the province. We have written a request to Treasury requesting them to investigate the matter so that we can deal with the matter. But our intention is to recoup that money from the contractors, as long as we can follow due process. be processed. So if we really joy from Public Works, I think we got very for now. I don't think the government managed that program. The last one that I want to deal with, and others I will leave it to the acting HOD and other staff members. Our implementation plan of libraries has been raised by Honorable Matt. This is a national grant. It's a conditional. That grant comes with 1, infrastructure, 2, its equipment, your furniture, 3, its books. It's a package. You build a library, that's why you have a 3-year process to have a complete library. At the first year, you plan, second year, construction. From there, as a non-contract, you construct towards finality, you need to procure your office desk or equipment or material. You need to begin a process of purchasing book. So you do it in a 3-year period. Others, they are done. They've got material, they've got books. When you have to open them, there are some social challenges within traditional literature. Then you need to next that process. So there are categories of status of those libraries. But it is a good thing that when we build this library, we finish it, let's go and build another one. The challenge that is here might be social, we can deal with. But immediately you resolve those issues in the dysfunctional case of my furniture. That's why I proudly reported Mula is one project detailing you know you need the 60 administration. It's one project detailing and the context is around the communities there. And here they wanted you to shift the fiscal structure from Hoshimang to from Dumela to Baiga. So those are the dynamics politically that also delay our opening of those libraries. But that's why we are saying, at least now, we've unlocked that. Finish Ayatena, we'll go and draw Hopela, formally, if one of the challenges, if we can allow people to use it. Because our intention is not about cutting the ribbon. Our intention is for the people there to use it. So we are gradually getting there. So it is very much important. We have a very serious backlog here at the library in the If I can give you the statistics, you will see that's why our education is at that level. I can say what were we doing all along with regard to libraries, because particularly in rural villages, because this is a tool that capacitates our rural boys and girls to equip themselves educationally. Because more than occasionally Wi-Fi, you can go there, you use or access the internet for free. So the more we have these libraries in rural villages, to me, it's very much important. And I can tell you the back child is going to benefit Gigi out of that. It's just that obviously infrastructure development will have those hiccups. But we are nursing the situation check. We are engaging whoever who matters to assist us to put the interest of the child at the center, as opposed to our own internal challenges that characterizes the Botoana people. I also need Kasi, library Kasi, the other way. My one village in Gomona, it's a town in the town market, Mabushi, Paralu, Yasmabushi. Yes, thanks. I will allow the HOD and the team.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Missy, HOD.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Mr. Small. Thank you very much. Let me quickly start with the question that has been asked by Honorable Max, and most of them were comments, and I think we appreciate the guidance that we received, especially in relation to how we are going to treat issues of legal matters. I think what we will do in our reports, which affects our corporate services, the Chief Director corporate services, will then do a summation of all legal matters, and obviously we will then summarize for the sake of the reports and then do a progress analysis in each case. So that advice is only received and accepted. However, you also mentioned the issues of heritage sites and historical sites. That what is it that we are doing as a department to ensure that we preserve our heritage sites and our museums and our historical sites. Currently, what we are only funding and supporting the 3 provincial museums that are preserving our heritage, which is Mutuwa Tsonga, Skomazdal, and Zata. And we are now done in terms of allocation of funds, in terms of making sure that they are repaired and maintained, and Skomazdal is actually constructed. So now we are going to move further in collaboration with Lira. In actual fact, when we were crafting the next 5-year plan, we said, how do we now increase our heritage sites and our museums? So we then look into the issue that you suggested, that how do we collaborate with our local municipalities to ensure that the heritage sites that they have and the historical sites that they have, how do we then get in and collaborate with them in terms of ensuring that we raise that conscious of preserving them, because it's not their number one competency, or it's not their core competency. They might sort of not really pay too much attention on them, but how can we ensure that we collaborate with them, we raise that conscious to ensure that we partner with them and we preserve the sites, we identify them, and we also ensure that they also fund them in their budget. In terms of quickly, I think the issue of libraries, which was very critical, and Honorable MC touched on it, that the 8 libraries are not functioning. In the past 5 years, I think I'll also take the 5 years before this one, 8 libraries yes, were completed. We actually will provide a report in terms of that. They include the running net that is in Mopani that has been completed, Mabalani, Seleting, even Mulamula, Pokwani Library in general. Those were completed and they are fully functioning. And the ones that we are actually planning on is the Chaulo that we actually mentioned that 2 have been completed, but Chaulo and Mambani are still going to be completed. So the 8 have been completed. We can just in the next attach an annexure to ensure the 8 check that have been completed. The issue that was also raised was in relation to sporting academies. We'll look into that matter. We know that we are actually having the South African National Framework of regulating academies in the country, and we're guided by the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. We look into that matter on how can we assist the mushrooming academies that are mushrooming, so that we can then assist them on how they can be regulated and function. But we consult with the National Department of Sports and Culture and we use that framework. The issue of collaborating in terms of sport and arts and culture, it actually talked to the target of the number of people actively participating in organized sport and recreation. In recreation, because it's a sport that is a type of activity that promotes active nation. We can use that one to collaborate with our communities to improve the love for sport in communities. But currently, colleagues in sport and education, they are basically doing that. But I think it's a matter that we actually augment and do more. The issue of Mapungwe Festival, I think the Honorable MC has unpacked it. But in the program of Mapungwe, we have taken the Mapungwe Rugby Cup in. So it's one area that we've taken in. We look into the football or the soccer part of it. I think let me end here. I'm also sure that Corporate Services, you've got anything to comment on, but I think we have actually taken this to respond to this.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Acting HOD. I think we are done. I don't think there will be a follow-up. The comments were comprehensive, and now we'll move to the next item, that is the second and third quarter report. And my belief is that we have dealt with most of the critical issues. So we are just getting the report, and I don't think there will be any other comment, because everything that we've been talking about is what is in the second and third and even beyond. So let's receive those reports, and then so that we can quickly round up our meeting to go and prepare for the game for tomorrow, and also to make sure that because I'm told the tickets are sold out, so we have to find a way of making sure if you don't have a ticket by now, I don't know what's going to happen. So we need to make sure that we have your tickets and go to the game. I'm already looking forward to that. So I'm heading over to the department once more again to present the next report, and we'll allow them to present the second quarter, third, and also the third quarter. And then from there, we then round up and finish. One would jump for Klanlala Changa, and I believe that definitely we will not waste time. We work on time in terms of sport, start on time, finish on time. Thank you, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and greeting once more to the members of the committee. Allow me, Chair, to request the acting HOD to speak to the report. But both reports were submitted to yourself on time, and I hope members who went through them. Acting HOD,
Thank you very much, Honorable MC, Honorable Chair. We will actually speak to the report. We will not look at the strategic focus, as it's always been there in our reports. In relation to quarter two, Honorable Chair, we had 31 targets in quarter two. We managed to implement 28, and the targets that were not achieved were 3. However, yes, were 3. And in terms of percentage of targets achieved, the total is 90%. When you move to the graph, I will not talk to the graph because it basically talks to what I have actually talked to. In the next slide, it just shows targets achievement per sub-program. When you look at the blue color is the number of targets, the red is the targets that were achieved, and the green is the targets that are not achieved. When you look at administration, we've got a target that is not achieved, which is green. But if you would look into the documents that you've submitted, we have submitted an addendum for administration in relation to target 1.2 of the percentage of the preferential procurement spent by sex, gender, age, and disability. We did an addendum, I will talk to it, but that target was achieved. So, meaning in administration, we achieved all targets. In arts and culture, it's only one target that was not achieved. In museum, it's only 1. So, all the sub-programs, they have achieved their target as we look at those colors, red and also blue. Looking at the next slide, we are quickly going to look at reasons of underperformance by programs. When you look into cultural affairs, the one that had got green is in relation to the number of statutory bodies that were supported. The reasons for deviation there is that we supported the Provincial Language Committee in the previous quarter. So in that quarter, it shows as if we did not achieve, but we actually supported the Provincial Language Committee in the previous quarter. And in museum and heritage, it is only 1. It affects the number of job opportunities created, which is our EPWP program. Unfortunately, we are unable to achieve the whole target. 14 were actually exited the program, and 6 from archives. So those numbers made us not to be able to achieve the target. But the corrective measure was that we then replace the 6 in the third quarter and replace also in the third quarter for both archives and also libraries and museums. In sport and education, it was only 1 that was not achieved, which is in relation to the number of indigenous games clubs supported per code, and that was the reason was that target was actually achieved in quarter 1. So that is why in quarter 2 it looks as if we did not achieve that. The next slide is in relation to reasons for over-performance by programs. there are areas that we overperformed and share. And in arts and culture, there are 3 areas where we overperformed. The first one is in relation to the number of artists that are benefiting from our training or our capacity building programs. We overachieved because we partnered with the National Lottery, Department of Labor, Social Development, and also social development, because they were assisting us to ensure that our artists, they know how to apply for funding, and also they know how to register their businesses as NGOs. And in terms of number of artists promoted, we also overachieved because there were more choristers that we supported during the provincial choral music festival, which is part of Mapungwe Arts and Culture program. We also achieved in terms of gender-based violence, femicide awareness campaigns. We implemented more of them because we partnered with SAPS, we partnered with social development. We looked into hot areas, particularly in Mopani, in Capricorn and Waterberg, and that is why we were able to achieve in rolling out gender-based violence and femicide. In sport and education, there were 3 targets where we overachieved. We overachieved in the number of athletes that were supported by using our academies. And we had more than 5 additional athletes when we took our teams to the national championships, and that is why we overachieved in that area. In terms of number of people trained to deliver club development, we were addressing the previous quarter. That is why we had more. Because in the previous quarter we did not achieve that target. In terms of number of local leagues supported, there were anticipated requests that we received from our federations, and like, as a mitigating factor, we are encouraging our federation to submit their league plans earlier and their national calendar on time, so that we actually go along with our planning. In the next slide, again, in terms of reasons for overachievement, when you look at your recreation, we overachieved in relation to the number of schools, hubs and clubs that we are providing or supporting with equipment and attire to enable their participation. So in the previous quarter, we did not achieve this target, so we actually did more numbers to ensure that we address the previous quarter backlog. And our corrective measures that we are encouraging our federations, our schools, and our hubs to actually submit their needs earlier, especially by the end of January, so that we can then plan for the following year. In relation to the number of people actively participating in organized sport and recreation, in this case we will achieve because we hosted the Junior Dipapati program that we are dealing with the sport in ECDs or sport in crashes. We hosted it in Skupune district, and we attracted more children that participated in that area. In terms of school sport, we overachieved in terms of reaching out to learners that are participating in the district school sport programs. We overachieved because at that time the National Department of Basic Education put a hold on leagues or on school sport leagues, so we did more to ensure that we close that area. And the memorandum of understanding that has been alluded by the Honorable ABC has helped us to unlock the participation of sport in schools. The next one is in relation to the number of school sport structures that were supported. We overachieved because we actually included 2 school sport structures in our rolling out of school sport games in schools, and the memorandum of understanding with the Department of Education assisted us here. Hence we overachieved in those areas. And in relation to the reasons for achievement to address the previous quarters is only in school sport. Here we participated. Our participation was as a result of a directive that we received from the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, where we partnered with K, Municipal Football, school sport championships in chess. And also the number of people trained to deliver school sport. There was a re-advertisement of the bid that was finalized during the quarter that was meant to actually support teachers that were going to participate in school sport. And Honorable Chair, in terms of every program, in terms of their targets, I can just concentrate on the ones that we did not achieve per program. In terms of administration, I've actually indicated that we submitted an addendum. When you look at that slide, that affects 1.2. Before when we submitted the report, it showed us that we did not achieve. But when you look at the addendum at the end of the report, it shows that In terms of women, the target was 43.29%, but we actually achieved that. We overachieved, it's 52.53. In terms of youth, we targeted 33.5 in terms of giving them work opportunities from our procurement, but we overachieved because we actually achieved 36.09%. In terms of people with disabilities, it was 5.6, but we overachieved because it is 12.5%. So in terms of administration, when you look at all the slides, we achieved all the targets. In terms of cultural affairs, there was only one that we did not achieve. It was in relation to the provincial language committee that we actually supported in the previous quarter. But when you look at cultural affairs, all targets were actually achieved. When we go to museums and heritage, it was only one target which was not achieved. It's in relation to the number of job opportunities that are created through arts, culture, and heritage programs. We targeted 143 through our EPWP program, and we only achieved 129. And I think I actually unpacked the reasons that the remaining 40 was as a result of 2 EPWP workers that exited the program, and 6 were targeted to start in the third quarter to align with the adjusted allocation for the program. And in terms of archives, those that were recruiting from archives, the last 6, one until the department to get the database from the local universities, we didn't get that. So, but then we actually put a corrective measure that will achieve it in the third quarter. In terms of heritage resource, we achieved, there were no issues. In terms of promotion of language services, we achieved, there were no problems. When we go to program 3, library services, there was no target for quarter 2. So in that area, we don't have any challenges. In relation to archives, we achieved all the targets. There was no overachievement and there was no underachievement. When we go to program 4, in relation to sport and recreation program, we are starting with the one that deals with sport in particular. We actually overachieved in 3 targets, and the one that, all of them, the one that we actually ensured that we just meet the target without overachievement, there are only 2, is the number of sport academies supported and number of people trained to deliver on academic programs. But all the targets were overachieved, which I've explained the reasons when I opened the discussions in the overall summary. Moving to recreation, we actually overachieved in recreation. 2 targets, provision of sport equipment to schools and hubs and clubs. We also overachieved in the number of people actively participating in organized sport and recreation. But there was one target that we did not achieve, is in relation to the number of indigenous games clubs that we supported. It is 104. The outstanding target was actually achieved in quarter 1. That is why we didn't achieve in quarter 2. In relation to school sport, which is the last area, in our programs, we overachieved in the number of learners that are participating in school sport, and there was only overachievement in those areas. We don't have any underachievement, except the last one, which is 4.3.4, that is in relation to the training of our educators to deliver on school sport. In that area, unfortunately, the bid that we're supposed to actually award, we re-advertised it, and in the next quarter, we were supposed to then appoint and ensure that the 61 people that were scheduled to be trained are trained in that quarter. So it was only one challenge in school sport. I think the addendum, I've talked to the addendum in terms of administration. In terms of infrastructure projects, we do not have any targets, but it's good that we actually keep the portfolio committee abreast of the issues of infrastructure. And the first one is in relation to the construction of the provincial theatre. By that time, in quarter 2, we were at 22%. And I think the Honorable ABC has actually indicated that we are currently at 32%, and we are earmarking to be at 40%. The challenges there, it was that we revised the cash flow projections because we surrendered an amount of 100 million. Remember, we started with a 200 million, a budget allocation for the provincial theatre. We surrendered 100, looking at the work schedule of the contractor and also looking at the cash projections. We realized that we can only spend 100 million in the current year, which will be then spent by the end of the financial year. In terms of libraries established, the construction of libraries with Chabelo, at that time we were at 95%. Currently we are at 99%. By the end of March, we will be receiving a practical completion, a certificate. All the milestones were actually achieved in relation to the challenge. We don't have any challenges there. Freefontein, it was 90% at that time against a current progress of 97%. We've already received a practical completion in December, so we don't have any challenges there. In terms of Mampana, it was not moving well. We're at 71%, and currently we are at 81%. But we put measures in place because the meetings that we are holding with the Department of Public Works are actually assisting because we monitor the work schedule of the contractor and also monitor the cash flow projections. In terms of Chaulo, the contractor was terminated, as you know, and we plan to replace the contractor. And currently the Honorable MC has actually reported that we have already appointed the contractor in the month of February. Yeah, we are done with the performance report. I can just hand over to the Chief Financial Officer to quickly walk us through the financial report as at the end of second quarter. Thank you very much.
Okay.
CFO.
Over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to you, Honorable MC, as well as the Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee on Sport, Arts and Culture. Chair, I think I'm just going to stick on that slide 31, as it depicts the entire picture in terms of our spending as at 30 September 2024. Honorable Chair, our main appropriation, meaning our allocated budget for 24-25 financial year, it was at an amount of 827 million, which was split among four programs, which is admin, cultural affairs, library and archive services, sport and recreation. Chair, our budget is dual. We have conditional grants. We also have equitable share. As at the end of the second quarter, administration was sitting at 47%. We had spent a total of 94.3 million from a budget allocation of 202 million. We also spent about 73.6 million from an allocated budget of 273.3 million, which translates to 27% as at the end of the second quarter. Maybe, Chair, let me briefly explain. I'm well aware that the Honorable MEC as well as the acting HOD, they did allude to the fact that when it comes to provincial theatre, we encountered some challenges from a structural point of view, but also there were those community protests which delayed the contractor from executing the work. Holistically, when we looked at the works program that has been supplied to us as a department, as well as cash flow projections, we could clearly see that they were not going to be able to fully spend the amount of 200 million that was allocated for that project. Hence, the acting HOD indicated that we had to start doing preparations so that we surrender that money during the current financial year, and it will be made available in 25-26 financial year. So as part of the interventions to correct the under expenditure there of about 23%, we had to surrender about 100 million during the adjustment budget so that we are back on track in terms of spending. When it comes to library and archive services, we're sitting at 50%, and we are still certain that the entire allocation will be spent by at year end. In total, we had spent a total amount of 121.9 million from a budget of 242.3 million. When it comes to our last program, which is sport and recreation, we had a total allocation of 111 million, and we managed to spend a total of 53.7 million, which also gave us a percentage spend of about 48%. When you look at the overall percentage expenditure, it was around 42%. The main difficulty there, it was the under expenditure we experienced under the provincial theatre. Chair, I also wanted to just point out that as at the end of the second quarter, we actually had commitments of about 63.6%, meaning these are funds that were already committed for different activities that the department will plan to implement throughout the financial year. So if we factor that those commitments, we are having a total expenditure and commitments of about 492.2 million, which gives us a percentage spend of about 49%, which is just 1% outside of the 50% straight line analysis. We also, in terms of the economic classification, now we are looking at the compensation of employees category. We had a total budget of 264.3 million as at the 30th of September 2024. We managed to spend a total of 118.3 million, which gave us a percentage spending of about 45%. At that stage, we were still implementing our plans. The department, we have not filled all the posts that we had put as part of our plan, but as the year progresses, we managed to fill those posts so that we are closer to the total allocation. I think also, Chair, it's fair to indicate at this stage that we had a compensation of employees liability that we were expected to pay due to contractual issues, which was around 10 million. We're still doing calculations at this specific time. We have not came to the accurate figures that we needed to process on PESAL, but subsequently we managed to pay that COE liability. When it comes to goods and services, we had spent a total of 144.4 million from an allocation of 299.8, which gave us a percentage spend of about 48%. When we factor in commitments, we are sitting at about 69%. We didn't really have challenges when it comes to goods and services. Same applies to the transfers and subsidies, the amounts of money that we transferred to our statutory as well as non-statutory bodies. We are sitting comfortably at about 57% as we had paid the first tranche payments to those statutory bodies that are assisting the department in implementing our projects. Again, when we look at payments for capital assets, we were sitting at approximately 29%. For all the things that I've also indicated, that when it comes to the provincial theatre, we had massive project problems, which led to the budget cut from 200 million to about 100 million. Overall, in terms of our expenditure, and honorable members, we're sitting at 42%, and we put all the mechanisms and controls to ensure that we catch up in the third quarter and the last quarter. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Are you done? Thank you very much. So you are done because you reported both at the same time. Is that correct? Did you report third quarter? You want to go to third quarter?
No, yes.
We can go to third quarter.
Sure.
Very short.
What you is?
Thank you very much. The third quarter, in terms of targets, we had 30 targets. We actually achieved 24, and 6 were not achieved. The programs that achieved 100% is arts and culture, heritage resource authority, language services, and archives. Those are the ones that achieved 100%. I'll only concentrate on the ones that did not achieve 100%. I will skip the graphs because they are merely summarizing the overall summation of the performance. Then I will go to reasons for deviations or for not achieving the targets. In the branch of cultural affairs, one indicator that was not achieved, again, it comes back, is the one of a number of job opportunities that are created through using our EPWP framework. This target was not achieved because there were no applications that were received in the 2 libraries and 2 job offers that we actually advertised, they were declined. So in the 4th quarter, we plan that we need to then recruit 4 that were remaining. And in library and archive services, one target that we have not achieved is the number of library materials purchased or books purchased. We advertised the bids for the procurement of books. The bid was not responsive. The mitigating factor is that we need to then re-advertise the bid in January. And now I'm glad to report that that bid was actually re-advertised and the appointments were done. I'll talk to it when I go to the program. Sport and education, there were 4 targets in that program that were not achieved. The one was in relation to the number of local leagues that were not supported because the federations suspended the leagues because of the examinations that we were doing in relation to the performance of the athletes, and the suspended leagues will then be implemented in Q4. And another indicator that was not achieved is in relation to the number of provincial programs implemented. This is in relation to the annual Limpopo Sport Awards that we are hosting to recognize the achievements of our sport personalities. That was not achieved because submissions of nominees were not received on time from various federations. But we are glad to indicate that the award was actually hosted on the 25th of January 2025 as per our collective measure, and it was also televised live. Recreation, the number of people actively participating in organized sport and active recreation events. We had a low turnover of participants due to the suspension of leagues because of the examination. That was actually because of the examination even from our school learners. And the corrective measure is that we will be implementing the suspended leagues in Q4. And the last one also that was not achieved is in relation to the number of learners in the National School Sport Championships per year. There were 98 learners that did not participate in the 2nd quarter during the implementation of the K-Motsepe Football Championship. So 98 learners participated in the 2nd quarter, and in the 3rd quarter they were not actually considered to participate. It was during the partnership with K-Motsepe Football Championships. When we go to the program, I will skip the programs that actually achieved 100%. When we look at administration, they all achieved, that program achieved all targets. In terms of arts and culture, in cultural affairs, all targets were achieved. We don't have any problems there, it's 100% achieved. In museums, sub-program of museums, I talked to the issue of the EPWP that we were unable to actually recruit 4 participants in the EPWP program. The target was 143. In the last quarter, it was also 143. Only 129 was recruited. So the number increased because we implemented the corrective measures. We were at 139 in Q3. And the reason for that was that there were no applications received in those 2 libraries, and the 2 job offers were actually declined. So we'll then replace the 4 in Q4. And we are glad that we have already advertised in Q4. Already 2 have been signed off. We are remaining with 2 to achieve that target. In heritage resource services, we achieved all targets. We don't have any challenges. In language services, we achieved all targets. In library services, that's where we had a serious challenge. When you look at target 3.1.2 in library services, the number of library materials purchased, we targeted to buy 10,000 books in that quarter, and the target was not achieved. The bid that we actually advertised, it was not responsive. So we re-advertised in January. But we can report that already the appointment was done in January, and the delivery of books, partially delivery of those books were done. We are currently sitting at 10,000 books that were delivered now currently in Q4, and that will be seen, will be unpacked well in our submission of Q4. In relation to archives, all targets were achieved, it is 100%. In relation to sport and recreation, I'll just quickly highlight the reasons, though we highlighted them when we were summarizing the report. The target that was not achieved is in sport in slide number 10 in relation to the number of local leagues that we should have supported. The target was 100, we only achieved 73, 29 leagues were not implemented because leagues were suspended by federations due to examinations that were taking place in quarter 3 during October and November. But those suspended leagues will be implemented in quarter 4. And the number of provincial programs implemented, I've already indicated that the sport awards was actually hosted in January, so the mitigating factor was actually implemented. In terms of recreation, there's only one target there that was not achieved. Is number of people actively participating in organized sport and active recreation events. We targeted 30,000 and 9,420 was not achieved, and the low turnover of participants in that program, in those programs, was as a result of the suspension of leagues during the examinations, and all those leagues will then be implemented in the next quarter. Coming to school sport, we have one indicator. We did not actually have a target for quarter 3. It's in relation to the number of learners participating at the district school sport programs. 902 learners participated in those programs because of the rescheduling of the championships in the district from quarter 2. So they were rescheduled to take place in quarter 3. And the number of learners in the National School Sport Championships, that target was not achieved. The target was 250. We only achieved 154. The reason is that the 98 learners participated in the second quarter during the partnership that we had with Cable TV in the School Sport Championships and also in the Federation of Chess. In school sport, there was no target in 4.3.3 in terms of number of school sport structures supported. There was no target, but we actually supported 12 school sport structures, and the reason is that the National School Sport Championships were hosted in the third quarter, so we had to then ensure that the school sport structures are involved to deliver the National School Sport Championships. So those are the only targets that were not achieved in sport and recreation. There were only 4, and in library SMCs only 1, and in museums only 1. In terms of infrastructure projects, the provincial theatre, you can see the pictorial evidence there of the provincial theatre. We were actually at 28% vis-a-vis the planned progress of 27%. During that time, the self-establishment was done and the foundation was actually ongoing, especially in relation to the stage. So we were actually overachieving because we were at 28% vis-a-vis 27%, so there were no challenges. In terms of Botshabelo Library, in quarter 3, we were at 99% against a planned progress of 100%. But it is good to report that by the end of the quarter, of quarter 4, we will be at 100%. Most of the milestones were achieved, like your ceiling installation, like your paint work, and most of them were actually achieved. Only paving, which was at 99%, and ESCOM collection, that was actually done. The 2 remaining libraries was Freefontein and Chaulo. Freefontein was practically achieved on the 2nd of December, no challenges. Chaulo Library, the contractor was terminated, the project was re-advertised in December the 4th. It is good to report that in February, already the contractor is appointed and the site was actually handed over to the contractor. Kampani Library, we actually improved slightly. We are at 78%. We were at 78% in quarter 3 against a planned progress of 95%. And the external work was actually at 88%. Most of the work was at 80% to 90%. Like the brickwork, beam filling was at 92%, and the metal roof insulation was at 62%. The fencing, the clear view fence insulation was at 93%. So in quarter 4, we actually see a positive progress report in relation to Mambani Library. Their practical completion date they've given us April 2024. We are hoping that we'll achieve that. 2025, excuse me. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I'll hand over to the picture. The pictures are there to see the libraries in terms of how far we are, especially the Mambani Library, which we are at 70%. You can see that the brickwork is actually progressing very well. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I'll hand over to the Chief Financial Officer to walk us through the expenditure report.
Thank you. Can you get the financial part?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. On slide 34, Chair, again, it's the summary of our overall expenditure as at the end of the third quarter, which is 31st December 2024. Chair, in comparison to the previous presentation, you will notice that we now have adjusted appropriation of about 754 million versus 827 million. That was our main appropriation. This is as a result of the department surrendering 100 million for the provincial theatre, but we also received additional funding from provincial treasury in relation to school sport, additional 10 million for both autumn and summer games. We also received additional allocation, which was our rollover for the 2024 financially of about 13 million. Now, if you net those two figures, there is a downward adjustment of about 73 million. As I've indicated, Chair, the 100 million has actually been allocated in 25-26 financially, meaning the department did not really lose any money, it has been reallocated. When it comes to overall expenditure, Chair, we're sitting at 70%. As at the end of the third quarter, we had spent a total of 530.2 million from a budget of 754 million. Administration was sitting at 70%, cultural affairs also 70%, library and archives 70%, with school sport sitting at about 72%. Chair, if we also tap in terms of our commitments of about 48 million, we are sitting at an expenditure and commitment of about 578.2 million, which gives us a percentage spend of 77%, which is above the 75% expenditure analysis. Again, when it comes to compensation of employees, we were slightly underspending there by about 9% for reasons that I've indicated earlier, that we had a compensation of employee liability that we needed to settle in relation to our librarians that were on contract basis. We have since paid that SCOE liability during the month of Feb. So if we look at the fourth quarter, the picture will be definitely different. When it comes to goods and services, we had spent a total of about 72%, which is in line with our projections. Transfers and subsidies were at about 91% as at the end of the third quarter. When it comes to payments for capital assets, I think in quarter one we're sitting at about 29%. We will see now that there is quite a huge improvement to 70% in terms of our spending. So overall, it's 70% as at the end of the third quarter, with 77% if we incorporate all the commitments that the department has committed on. Chair, we still want to emphasize that based on the catch-up plans we have put in place as a department, we are convinced that we will surpass the 98% we have spent in the previous financial year. We should be comfortably at about 99% as well, going towards the final plan of the financial year. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are now done with two reports. What's the financial aspect of it, and also the achievements in terms of the targets. And honorable members, you are allowed to then comment or ask some questions, bearing in mind that it's almost the same, reports. we've already summarized the first responses of the education program, and then now we will then get into the details. So yes, Honorable Dr. Madavane, Honorable Male, I think these are all the two ends.
Let's do look. I see others still outside because maybe we stayed a long time sitting down. And the MEC and the team, I don't want to break protocol, but I know the chair will do it at the end with regard to commending the department on the work that they are doing, because otherwise we will do it ourselves on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. First, let me start by a attention that the MEC wants us to draw from the interaction of the department and SCOPA. I think we should appreciate that. The MEC say here are the matters that the SCOPA is instructing us to pay attention and do, and it's prudent that as part of people who are oversighting live project, we should pay attention so that the cycle of SCOPA as it comes, we are at one, and for sure we have achieved those, and we should say that, because that is profound, coming from an executive to an oversight committee to do that. He does not see it as a problem. He sees it as part of the work that we need to do. I think we must be thankful of that, and Chair, we for sure you are saying we will also make sure that the matters are presented to us through you, Chair, so that we are able to do it. I, as part of respecting honorable members, only deal with matters in the cultural key performance area, hoping that honorable members will deal with other key performance areas so that I save time. And I'm going to ask specific to what you are doing as part of appreciating and wanting you to augment certain things. And I may be tempted to do some general comments and put us in trouble with other departments. When you ask something general, they no longer respond to what they are doing. They see to the general. I hope you will not do that. You will appreciate the one that you do them, because we are towards the end of the year, so that they are able to assist you. The first one is in relation to the sports and arts and culture statutory bodies that you are supporting. We must just in passing appreciate that, and for sure the chair will give us an opportunity at some point just to go and interact with them, just have experience of those statutory body and the department. We know they are existing, but because we are not there, we may have to interact with them at some point so that we can be able to be relevant when we interact with you. The second one is about your good work that you are doing both quarters, about practitioners that you are capacitating, where you budgeted for a particular number, but you have exceeded it with more than 120%. We should appreciate that. But we want to ask a question on how were the practitioners capacitated, and ask you to provide a list of those practitioners for us to be able to have an idea of those people. The second one that you must appreciate before you ask questions is related to the creative industry project that you have done. As a way of also appreciate, you want to know what type of support was provided, at what cost specifically, and where it was rendered. And we may also ask for the one that you have assisted previously, because we wanted to check if there is any tangible impact made by that, as well as the lesson that you are drawing from the intervention you are making, which must be noted. That's the second. The third one related to gender-based violence and femicide. As we appreciate your extra mind, not treating this matter as just a tick in the box by including people who normally are the stones when you throw them in the water. They create waves that you call influencers. Because you have a big responsibility of the whole province. We noted that even your budget is so small, but it's important that we understand which areas you have targeted. We take that the area that are most affected, remind you that the province is big, and what impact has the department made in areas where campaigns were conducted in the previous years. There's a way of responding to the current one. We see that you have explained very well without asking question about your plan to create jobs, and I think we should accept the reason that was given with regard to the fact that in that field people, because those work are temporary, when they get work they leave. I think we must appreciate that explanation, because we know that is a pain. You have about 10 initiatives that you took with regard to national symbol. And we should appreciate your intention to popularize the national symbols. But you know that in a new colonial state like us, these matters normal people don't pay attention. That's why we ask you a number of questions so that we are all together. I want to check which areas were targeted for awareness campaigns on national symbols, and the cost that were expected from you. The last but one is the matter related to multilingualism and your 3 campaigns that you have made. I just wanted to know in which areas that you have done so. As we go to tomorrow with the human rights, for sure you know that our province is highly diversified and complex. And most of the time, we sometimes see the same people in this regard. So therefore, I want to ask the following question, which we don't have to answer, just for the purpose of you going forward. Although you do national symbol, I just wanted to know how you plan to do specifically for young people and the marginalized community. Maybe put it differently. How does the department plan to promote national symbol and heritage among young people and the marginalized community? I also wanted to check, and this is not a question that you may sit on them, no. That's a question that as you go including in your stress plan, you can look at them. are the initiative to develop educational materials or programs that focus on national symbols or heritage. They can be in the form of flyers or other things, or you know, those that are involved in campaign will know what is expected of that, if that is important to you. The last one in this part of national symbol is how does the department collaborate with other departments and organizations to promote national pride and identity. This I ask because the department does not have an opportunity to have a lot of money, but the impact of the work you are doing is enormous. So for the purpose of national cohesion, for sure you need other players that will assist you to attract other people. As I said, we see the same people. So if we have other people who collaborate with, including the private one, including targeting the private one that are sitting in some national groups that have their own events there without coming to the one of government. Contacting them for two reasons: for them to participate and expose them to what we wanted to do, so that they are part of joining us in this national unity and cohesion matters, so that they must not continue joining those that loved madness and loved Trump so much, while the beautiful country of South Africa is here for them to explore and live a better life. The last part is related to the biggest challenges that we are facing in implementing cultural affairs initiatives, which is related to that, just for the purpose of you planning for us. And on whether you ever look at how are you going to deal with it. I know as government we are used to do in terms of our own budget, but with these matters we can have impact by involving many people in this kind of cultural activity. Yeah, I think I must rest it there with regard to the project that you may want to put, whether you have money or not, so that we can be able to have a plan to contact other people who can come into, who can come and assist the department. The last one, on a lighter note, Chair, sorry to ask it. Lesotho is coming here tomorrow. It is here. The chair says some of us must just go and watch them practice it now because there's no tickets. Because maybe we must go and watch them as they practice. Because tomorrow we don't have ticket. And I'm not asking ticket. I'm just saying, I understand you, the government must pay something. And off record,
it's on record.
Oh, okay.
It's on record. All right, the issue of the game, I think, is an issue that we're all friends of Bafana Bafana. And we have the sole responsibility to make sure that, we have the sole responsibility to ensure that we go to the game. Okay. And we must make means to go to the game, like all of our people out there. Let's go to the games and support Bafana Bafana. The only thing that we can comment on is on the issue of national symbols. That's where the government must really use it as an opportunity to achieve something through that as well, and use this opportunity to make sure that there are national symbols when you go to one of the games.
You can't be. The last part in the next meeting. Please favor
you yourself were supposed to be a Bafana player during your time, and hopefully you should support Bafana. We're doing very well as Bafana. I'm the greatest supporter of Bafana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. My conclusion was we are going to ask you how much is the cost of bringing the game here in the next meeting.
Even now we are ready to provide that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Malibana, for that. And I think the other hand was from Honorable Mohale.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Let me see. Tomorrow is my birthday. So if you are not going to provide us with tickets, then I don't know.
There is no way I'm not going to give it.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairperson. I am going to speak mostly on sports. I've heard that you are supporting school sports, and my wish is to know how many high schools are you supporting, how many primary schools are you supporting, and I also wish to know, there's a difference. There are rural schools, there are town schools. I know when it comes to sports, rural schools are doing much better than other high schools, like your ordinary high schools. They are public schools, but they are doing much better when it comes to that. And also to say, because you are supporting these high schools, how do you measure the impact that you are making? How do you measure the impact that you are making on these school sports? The other issue that you talked about is supporting sports academies. These sports academies that you are supporting, which sporting codes are they concentrating on these sports academies? But also again on the sports academies, how do you measure the impact that you are making on them? Because what's important is you wanting to see improvement. How then do we measure these sporting, the academies? And also, how do you select the academies, the sports academies that you are supporting? How do you select them? Do they approach you? Do you approach them, and so on? And the other issue is you are talking also about supporting local leagues. Which leagues are you supporting? The local leagues, which ones are you supporting? Are you able to say this and this league we are supporting? The other issue, I think maybe I've spoken about it, the schools. How did you identify these schools that you are supporting? Yeah, how did you identify them? I think mine is on the school sport and sport in general. And there's another one, there's MEC, a girl by the name of Prudence Sokodisu, who is an athlete. Is the department, because I know she's competing international, how is the department supporting that girl? Because that girl is an example of from a rural area to the world. From a small, from a village to the world, to say here is a girl which can be an example to other girls from the rural areas to say you can make it. And I don't know now, as well I've moved away from the disability sector, I'm still there. And also MEC, I want to say I see women there at the senior management level. I am happy about that. Women at the management level, I'm happy about that. We are so happy about that. I think those were my, no. Okay, the last one. How many persons with disabilities did you assist in the creative industry? That's the last one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think Honorable Mate also want to say something.
Mine is just a concern, Chair. It's a concern in the sense that, you see, you have a department here that continues to obtain clean audits. That if you are to analyze the spending patterns, is spending whatever that is allocated. But I'm worried that I think it is, I don't know, some of these things are wrong tendencies or wrong cultures. That you see, come Tuesday is the 25th of March, we're going to receive a budget speech. All this department with qualified and all these notables, they are going to be allocated more than these ones. Come budget adjustment, they are all allocated more than these ones. In the last budget adjustments, this department, I think, they got almost 300 and something thousand, which for me does not necessarily make sense. Because when you have allocated money and the audit opinion is satisfactory, it means that clear control systems and accountability systems. So I want to suggest through you, Chair, that between yourself and the MEC, arrange a session with the MEC of Travel. Because we did it somewhere in one of the committees that and I saw it out of that session, we got a bigger than amount. Because you see where the department is failing to fulfill its mandate. Not because there is an element of laxity or whatsoever, but there are constraints in terms of resources. How then do we? But with the little resources that they have, they are able to obtain clean audit. So I'm just saying, it's fine, Tuesday we're going there, it's okay. I'll be shocked if you can get bigger than, you see, look, for argument's sake, and I think logic sometimes must be a denominator. Yes. I mean, English is South African and New Zealand, but I'm not the same.
English guy?
South African, New Zealand, but not the same.
Oh, yeah.
There is this department, I'm not saying they don't deserve money, right? But there is this department which most of their things, almost 86 or 89% or 90% of what they do comes from national. This one they are saved. They don't buy uniforms, they don't buy police vehicles, they don't build police stations. But these ones, they're doing a lot of things. But those ones get more than these ones. Or is it because these sports in the end? These sports, the arts, you just go there and see, then it's okay. And lastly, what is the arrangement now? Because after the budget, we are going to have all this department coming, presenting budget speeches, and we'll be clapping hands for some of the things that we don't know. But you have these children of these people that are always there doing cultural dances and whatsoever. What is the arrangement with those people? How do we compensate them? Is it still the 500 that was introduced by João Mozambique then? Or what is the arrangement now? Apart from us transporting them and giving them catering. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for raising that concern, and I think it's a genuine concern. I hope we'll find a solution to it. And I think you've already made a suggestion. Of course, we might be late for the 25th budget speech, but hopefully we will find a way of making sure that the budget is increased. Historically, it was 28 million. As far as I remember, when we started this government in 1994, there was
was no much money that was allocated to sports as a culture. So we definitely need to move and make sure, because a healthy nation, a sporting nation is a healthy nation. And when you spend more on sport, people will be healthy, then they will not go to hospital. If we promote sport and arts and culture, that people are active and they take care of their own health through sport, and then we can indeed also spend less in terms of health department. So yeah, it's an argument that we need to put forward, and I think I need to hand over to you, but it's also very close to me as well as the chairperson, because even our communities out there, they are closing all playgrounds in the rural areas. They are closing, they are putting residential areas in the ground. You find that now people are not even in areas to young people to actually practice sport. So with the Department of Sport having a bigger budget, we can also move forward in assisting communities to have sports facilities. Not only libraries, but we also need sports facilities, assisting, working together with the local municipalities that are also not doing very well. So over to you. I think that issue is a very serious issue that Honorable Mate raised, and we need to really work hard to change the attitude and the thinking of those that are actually, whether themselves were sporting people, whether they are also not seeing what we all see, that sport is the future in terms of everything, including education and everything. When a person is healthy, you can do well in education and not have a lot of repeaters, and people can handle themselves. Because sport is a discipline in itself, it can discipline someone. So you also learn to be a disciplined person, and then you will also not go to jail because of sport. That's why we're here. We became leaders through sport. We then have good people who can behave, people with manners, so that even our society can have no issues around issues of gender-based violence and everything that goes with it. Because of people not behaving, because of going to beer halls and so on. So you need to remove all those people from all these places through a bigger budget, making sure that they've got something to do with people, with coaches who are supported, because even the coaches are not supported. Thank you. I'm giving it back to you, but I think
there is a half point, Chair, that I must say if you allow.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, I will like economy in the Mara sport, but there is a matter that we just wanted to know. How come they took your money during the adjustment? Just to get a reason. What was the reason? Was just their way they adjust the budget because somewhere there was a short, or there was a reason that is from yourself that have made the provincial treasurer to have no reason but to take some of your money. Last time when they do the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. That is another controversial issue that you need to address, but I think you addressed it on the issues of getting out of money, and also because of, and the money is not moving away, it is there for the next financial year. It's just that you started late on the issues of the, but you will answer it your own way. That's how I heard it when you were actually explaining. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me acknowledge the input by members, the sympathy you are displaying to this poor department who has got no financial capacity to execute its broader mandate. Chair, I used to argue in any front, in any session or platform that if you have to look into the core function of the department, this is one of the best departments in terms of responsibilities. This department's objective is to build social cohesion, is to make sure that we exist united in diversity. And there are a multiplicity of projects and programs that we need to embark upon which need to be. That one, you just need a political will from the leading government, but I can assure you, Chair, your Division of Revenue Act does not assist us to achieve the objective of the developmental state. That law it's not very relevant guy. Because when we took power in 1994, if I have to go to politics, our aim was to come and transform society. Our aim was to come and redress the imbalances of the past. And when we redress the imbalances of the past, we need to conduct a status quo analysis in terms of the material conditions of the people who were living at that time. And the majority of our black people in those rural villages, those are the people with no services at all. And you must then effect a regulation, finance, that will assist you to deal with those challenges. But ours is a different thing, I can assure you, and in because I don't understand the relevant guy when we're doing this thing. Because the Division of Revenue Act is biased to the well-constructed towns and cities where they've got the internal capacity, their revenue injection. They allocate using what is it that you are bringing as a geographical spot or area. That's why Joburg will get a lot of budget because people are paying for rates there. But the objective of our existence, particularly as a liberation movement, was to redress those people in the rural areas. But your budget mechanism does not allow you to achieve that. That is the long and short of it. We can screen chairperson as long as you don't deal with this issue and give it the attention it requires. I can assure you, we'll always complain. But let me indicate that as a department, having realized this challenge, which is something that you can't deal with. Fortunately, because we've got statutory bodies that have got the legal authority to raise money, your sports confederations, your LACC, they've got the legal capacity to raise money. We are, as a department, in collaboration with them, developing concept documents in the form of proposals with certain costs. And we begin to engage the private sector to fund the programs of the department through those statutory bodies, because now ourselves as a department, we can raise money. We can't in terms of the law. But then those statutory bodies we use them. That's why we are in partnership with MTN as I'm speaking. They're going to assist us in terms of development of sports facilities. Yeah, we are in partnership with other private entities assisting us in construction of cricket sets across the whole province. We use private people because we don't have an option. We are engaging lottery as we are speaking to fund some of these projects. But I can tell you, Chairperson, there should be a political intervention on the matter in question. The fact that there is a proposal that yourself and myself need to sit down and say that I don't know which regulation are they going to utilize to give us more money. Because your dollar is bottlenecked in the process. To me, it's a matter that needs a very serious rigorous engagement at another level. And they know, even in cabinet, they know. I raised this thing. Even Treasury knows I raised this thing. Unfortunately, you raised this thing, but there won't be any response because we have got the regulations that does not assist us to achieve what we want to achieve. That's why you are poor people who are going poor, because of your regulations, if I have to be brutally honest. The other issue that I think I need to talk about, Chair, is the participation of schools and teams, and how do you fund them. I might not go into how many schools and teams, but let me indicate to you, Chair, we've been in this status quo for a very long time. Actually, our budget must respond to our demand. Schools need to be registered with a particular league. Clubs must be registered with a particular league. And all this information, this data, will assist us to say, as Limpopo, this is what we want. So whoever allocates must take that into consideration. That's why we have embarked on a rigorous program of mobilizing our school sports, our schools to our ratio. Most of the beneficiaries are those who receive schools, and these who are small schools. But those who take sport very seriously, they register and they satisfy the condition of allocation of budget.
So they will allocate you money according to the number of schools that are registered. So ours now, as I've said, we are going all out there to mobilize our schools through with the Department of Education to register, so that a poor public school in a rural city can be funded, can get equipment, can qualify, can satisfy the conditions of that grant. So these are some of the complications of state power, and we must agree, Chairperson, we have to gradually conscientize and engage, but finally we need to make sure that all those schools, all those teams are affiliating to the leagues and so forth. Others, we don't fund it as SAFA, PSN, no. But SAFA and because ours is development, it's positive development. But PSN, tourism agency, like they allocate them a particular amount of money, but that's not like our space. Our space is positive development. That's why we are targeting this rural grassroots sport, so that we register them, and at least they will give us a particular number of participants, which will also assist the same dollar to be implemented to give us money. I think that's one critical issue that once we can deal with in the next financial year, we will be able. But also just to speak around issues of the sporting codes, Honorable Mohale. There is a guideline from National that identifies accredited sporting codes that the government need to assist. They allow that, I might not go into specific, but they can get that, we can give you that info. There are a lot of sporting codes that National, when we come to the province, for now I'm talking 16 sporting codes that government assists. Outside all the number of 100 sporting codes that are there, but at least that guideline has adopted 16 sporting codes. Number one would be your soccer, your netball, your volleyball, your fencing, those, your cricket. They are there, they are very regular. These are the only sporting codes that we have to assist. That's why we have unleashed a program of mobilizing our schools to even play hockey. So that we deal with this issue. Hockey is a sport that belongs to white and or Indians, or cricket or Indians. We are a department that wants to build cohesion, to bring people together. You can't talk about issue or transformer cricket. You want to see, I listened to an argument one day, I don't want to quote people, but cricket is lily white and they want to penalize them. You need to produce cricketers from rural black schools. That's what you must do. And if you are not going into that space to do what transformation, that to me, it doesn't make sense, Chair, and I'm sorry to go to this far. But you know, when you are in this department and only a leader who has got passion, you will be frustrated. But let me allow the acting HOD and the staff members to deal with specific questions that have been raised. But I can assure you, Honorable Maluana, adjustment budget allocated just like guided by those regulations, those notes from Treasury. The more you become small, the more you get smaller. The more you become big, you get bigger. Irrespective of the programs that you that's an unfortunate situation. Even those that are not spending. You are going to see departments that are not spending. Not very long. You will see, but when they allocate the budget, the honorable member, they give them more. They always there. Even if they are unable to spend. To me, what is the rationale? Because you need to take money where there is value, where there is capacity to spend the money. So these are some of, I think, our regulations which they need the legislature to deal with. Somewhere, somehow, they are frustrated. Thanks, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, I see Franco, Honorable Franco Marx. Marx is it? Marx. No. We are descendant of Marx.
Karl Marx. Oh, it's Marx.
It's debatable.
Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. No, it's more comment, and I think we need to commend the MEC for identifying the problems that he and his department is facing. Yes, we do not have enough money to invest in a sport as we would like to. Although it shouldn't be, there is certain sports that are classified according to race or maybe cultures. I mean, that is so. Soccer is maybe a black sport, and rugby is the white one. But if you look at the World Cup results, look at who's the rugby captain. So over the years, we did invest into our black players as well. But it takes time, obviously. I remember when I was still in primary school, and it's not that long ago, although I'm great, but there was this cricketer, John D. Rhodes, I think many of you will know, and they had a Baker's Cookies campaign, where they also sponsored and got involved, and you mentioned MTN. And that managed to result in very good black cricketers. For example, Makani and Hoha Adams and those guys. And nothing stops us to go and partner with them. It doesn't need to be national. There's even local businesses in Limpopo that got brand name car dealerships, the Makus and so on. There's so many options available there. And that actually brings me to the question. If we as the members sitting on this side identify possible solutions, how do we approach you in your office? Obviously just to send an email and say, "God, we've got an idea." It's so informal. We need to actually engage. I'm thinking aloud, for example, there was an incident in the Janine municipality regarding the swimming pool there. Yeah. There was some chlorine you saw. It's no one's mistake. I think no one could really be blamed. But when I did my oversight there, we've realized that the municipality doesn't have the financial means to look after that. And they got more or less the same issue that your department has. But there are in fact outside third parties, private partnerships that can take over a swimming pool such as that one that is on, I understand, Olympic standards or the national standards at least, and then use it for free and they upgrade that. Swimming traditionally, I'm not sure if I'm correct or not, but there's also a tendency to say certain groups can't swim. I personally, I'm not a good swimmer. In fact, I don't think I'll survive swimming to the door. But that might give us opportunity to learn our kids to swim by partnering with that and say, well, you get the facilities for free, however you should upgrade it and put back into the community. And then my question, to come to my question, how do we approach it, you as the department? Yeah, that is the question. Thank you.
Maybe that's a very good idea.
Maybe just keep on to this one, not forgetting that it should be respond to those other issues. You just call me, let's just exchange numbers. Bring anyone. Our program now is to mobilize the resources from the private sector, and we've started 10%. And if we can get Samaritans who can assist us on that one, I can tell you I'm readily available. I can work on that one 24/7. So we'll exchange numbers.
So there is no, the contacts of the departments are all here in this big dialogue of ours. So there is no like protocol to contact the Honorable MEC. You can call the Honorable MEC, discuss. You don't even need to take the chairperson along, and then we will only get a report. And because we want progress, we want really to make sure that things goes well down there. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable MEC. The city will respond to the issues that are related to financial management, issues of budget and budget. But also other colleagues where maybe I would have forgotten other questions that was asked. But I'll quickly summarize the questions that have been asked by Honorable Dr. Malebana in relation to cultural affairs. Honorable Chair, we made sure that we also attach the narrative report transparent in the documents so that honorable members, when they go through the numbers, they can actually go match the numbers with the narrative report that is here so that it can give the honorable members a sense of exactly what is it that we are actually doing in relation to those targets. The number of practitioners that were capacitated, I'll quickly just go to page 20 of the narrative report that yes, indeed, we managed to overachieve in that area because the first training that we did was in relation to the craft domain, where we're teaching people how to actually do the craft and how to expose their products in the craft market. So we did it in December. We partnered with the National Department of Sport and Culture together with Polokwane, and then we showcased it at the Library Gardens and also that museum was next to the Honorable MC was there to actually open it officially. It actually lasted for the whole week. It was called The Beautiful Things, which we now requested the National Sports and Culture to partner with them annually. So we managed to train 120 practitioners on how to produce this craft that can actually sell nationally and internationally. Then we trained 99 crafters in Bembe district. We partnered with the University of Venda, with CEDA and with LEADER in October. There we actually teaching them on how to apply for their funding, but also how to make sure that they do the product packaging of their goods as creative people. So there were 99 in number, and 106 were actually trained in film and video. It was actually 2 days, and I think Honorable MEC, the honorable members are preparing us to come with pictures, so that we don't only do pictures for infrastructure, but we do pictures also of the programs that are going on in both arts, culture, and also sport and education. So in this case, 106 young filmmakers were trained for 2 days during the Mapungwe Film and Video Festival. So we are now no longer doing Mapungwe as a one-day festival, but we are doing all this creative domain so that others that are not singing, they can actually benefit from the film and video. And they were trained for a period of 2 days there. It was a showcase of film, and they were also trained to benefit out of that live showcasing of films. And we provide a list together with the cost. I think we are noting that, and the parliamentary officer will assist us on how to quickly do that. The creative industry, the type of support that we did, I think when we quickly turn to page 21, we did 3 creative industry projects. We supported a comedy industry because out of the creative industry of arts and culture, there are 16 domains. Like in sport and education, 16 sporting codes. There are 16 domains. It's film, it's video, it's theater, it's books and publishing, it's performing arts, it's even the digital, the photography is also part of art. So it's comedy. So we did comedy on the 12th of December. We called it a comedy night, where we selected 10 comedians in the province of Limpopo. Very good comedians. They showcased their work. We even paid them because when they showcase their work, we also pay them. And I think in terms of payment, it's 20,000 and even more. And comedians like Boma Sharon is really, really expensive. It's about 40,000 in terms of how to actually assist them to preserve that talent that we want, because it's a creative industry on its own.
You want the money.
We also supported the craft industry again from the 9th to the 14th of December in the Library Gardens. We took 25 crafters in all the districts, 5 per district. We partnered with LEADER, so all of them showcased in Q3 in December. And people went there to buy the craft that they do. So we call it creative because when you buy, you actually put the butter on their table. And the 10 filmmakers that we trained, we also remunerated them because we sent out a call to all the filmmakers in the province, and then they submitted, we adjudicated, we took the 10 best films, and then we showcased them during those 2 days, from the 20th to the 21st of December in Library Gardens. So we are using that Library Gardens to be our film hub and our theatre hub to build up towards the provincial theatre. So there's an impact there, because there is a great need to actually reach out for more. Currently we've released another one to call out for filmmakers, where we're going to actually go and film in terms of gender-based violence in all the hotspot areas, because we took a demand from these filmmakers to say that we want to actually showcase our films. The gender-based violence, where and which areas they happened, I think is in page 22. We are actually showcasing that we did 3. One happened in Waterloo District at Mahoma Library, and one happened during the Mapungwe Theatre Night. We did a film, a theatre about gender-based violence, and it was 2 days. Mahoma Paul Rapezo, the one that we know, and other theatre people. So the message, we are not only sending the message out by talking, but we're also sending it out through the theatre and through our films. And the 10 initiatives that we are undertaking for teaching people about the flag and also about the national symbols. When you turn to quickly page 25, we went to 10 schools where we are doing the flag campaign. But besides that, when we do any other government program, we actually take out the flag and we teach people the meaning of the flag, and we give them the patriot books. I think the one that the Honorable attended, the one of Geographical Names Committee, we gave everybody flags, we taught them before we opened the session. So the number of schools that we did the flag campaign, in partnership with the Department of Education, they are mentioned there, the list of them in page 25, together with their dates. Though we acknowledge that we have not yet reached out to white schools and Indian schools. And we gave colleagues a mandate to say in the next financial year, now we should then go and reach out to white schools and Indian and colored based schools, so that we then cover all these other areas. In terms of the advice that we're given, how to produce the material, we are relying on the National Department of Sports and Culture. They've got the archives that is actually producing the material that we use. They're afraid that if we reproduce, we might make mistakes. So the booklets and everything about the lessons that we're teaching people about the flag campaigns and the national symbols, we are taking them from the National Department of Sports and Culture. But other guidelines that you've given us, we have taken note of that. The multilingualism campaign, I'm glad that Honorable Madam, you've mentioned the human rights. We are also going to showcase or exhibit our different languages and the services that we do. We do translation of documents. We translate them in from English to our 6, to our 4 indigenous languages. So we are going to exhibit there. But when you quickly go to page, I think in languages, we have mentioned the areas where we did our multilingualism campaigns. We did them in celebrating our National Children's Day at Mahwari Community Hall. And I think we also indicated how many people have we reached out. We reached out to 93 young people and 29 people with disability, and 83 males and 103 females. We also did that at Malabon Sport Ground during the celebration of the International Day of Persons with Disability at Malabon. We also did it during the craft market. That's how we reach out to people. And we'll also be doing one during the Human Rights Day tomorrow. And in terms of how do you plan to involve other departments and private institutions in terms of promoting social cohesion? I think the issue of the national initiatives, the national symbols that we are promoting, we are partnering with education, but social cohesion is for all. And it sits with us as the Department of Sports and Culture. So we are leading in terms of rolling out social cohesion programs. So we are mandated to coordinate all the other departments. So we are the Secretariat and OTP, or Office of the Premier. They sit as a chair to actually call all the departments to report in the work that they do in the social cohesion. I think we'll unpack it in the next portfolio and give attach the reports of all the programs that are done in the province in terms of social cohesion and nation building. There's a strategy that was approved in 2020. It's actually coming to an end in 2025. We should then be starting to revise it. There's too much work that we need to do to actually promote social cohesion and nation building. We have still not yet reached that level. But when you look at the stats that are currently at national, they're saying that Limpopo is actually doing well in social cohesion. I think the index, you've seen it in the national TV, and also if you Google to say where are we in terms of the index, we are actually very far. I think the cultural groups, we are now remunerating them annual matter. It's no longer 500,000. The cultural groups, we are remunerating them if you are in the district, it's 10,000. If it's inter-district, it's 15,000. We are planning to revise that.
This is the most trendy.
Chair, didn't hear she was in the pitch. I was speaking to them, while we were speaking to the people of the board.
I want this one that's coming here for the problem.
No, it's putting bread on the table of the Matwakiba, Mahakasa, 10,000. Yeah, they actually appreciate that in Akawashikumu.
But they didn't hear you. You were speaking to the chairperson.
Oh, 10,000 yes, inter-district. If I move from Sikule to Napani, it's 15,000. But we want to actually up it to revise our guideline for arts and culture. I think the last ones are for sport and education. I think Honorable MEC, they've covered them very well. It's just to talk about academies that we've got 6 academies that we are supporting in the province. In every district there is an academy, and the provincial academy is now situated here at Capricorn High School.
Yeah.
So if you go to Capricorn High School, there's an academy. They're using a very big building like this one. There are machines, training machines that are there. And the one in Capricorn is at around the one is that's just forgot the area. But they're all in the front.
My school is
dilapidated. So they are 5. I think we can attach a special report so that we can then talk more about those academies. The number of schools, we are also reporting about it in the social cluster. It's more than 1,000 schools that we are supporting, 1,400 schools that we are supporting. But in total, in Limpopo, it's 3,200 schools. We'll also attach the list of the schools that we're supporting in school support. Thank you very much. I think the Chief Financial Officer will touch on the issues of
Prudence Hodis.
I don't want to go into a specific name, Chair. I might not know her, but the process here is that if an athlete that is going to perform nationally or internationally, either the family or the manager will talk to us, then we facilitate the process of assisting her. So maybe we can share that information outside here. We can follow it up, check what happened. But if they spoke to me, I can tell you they know. We assist each and every the chess players. Nobody will be leaving behind as long as we know. We'll it there after this meeting. I think that.
Okay, those are details. Anyway, over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On this one, I think as a department, we concur with Honorable Mathe that the work that the department is doing is enormous in terms of the impact. And ideally, the budget that we are having currently to ensure that as a department we execute our mandate properly. If the budget can be multiplied by 3, I think we would be able to move. Chair, to answer directly the question that was asked by Honorable Maliwana, in terms of how much exactly was our adjusted budget, I think I touched on it earlier, that we had to surrender 100 million in relation to the theatre, which we've already received in the 25-26 financial year. For the current financial year, we made a request from the provincial treasury because we realized that if we don't get any additional funds, there was no way we would have achieved all our targets, because the targets at times they depend on the available resources. So in total we have received about 26.9 million as an upward adjustment in terms of the budget. The breakdown of that budget, 10.8 million was for school sports in order to deliver our school sports kits in terms of the district, provincial as well as national, summer and autumn events. We also got additional 13 million, and that was a rollover from the previous financial year. I think earlier as a department we indicated that we encountered some challenges in terms of implementing the childhood project, which led to termination. Therefore, we couldn't spend that money. We requested a rollover for the following financial year. We also received, as part of a special adjustment, about 432,000. That was for the disaster funding. There were some structures of the department that were negatively affected by the rains and the floods that happened. So in total, we have received about 26.9 million. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC and Honorable Members. I think this then draws us to the end of this meeting, and I think now obviously having announcements, but before that I would like to take this opportunity to formally thank you and your department and the staff, including honorable members. I think we've done well. We're always doing well. So we stayed longer because we were sort of investigating what is it that we can do regularly, making sure that we get more money to do, to continue doing the good work that you're doing. And I think that is one area that took us some time to think about it, including how we can engage with the business communities and so on. It's quite surprising in South Africa, it's only rugby that's getting a lot of money. And other sporting codes are not getting a lot of money. Business communities are not responding. Even PSL teams, some of them are not surviving because of lack of sponsorship. It's only Kaizer Chiefs and all of the Pirates that can survive. So we need to do something. It can't be only England where people are doing well, where our players will be paid better when they go to Europe. We need to find a way of engaging our business communities to also invest in sport. It's quite important. Thank you very much for that. And I would also like to thank our listeners in the out there who are following us through YouTube, right? Yes. Later on is through our Facebook page, but it's through YouTube. Thank you very much. The part of these meetings our meetings are open to the public, and I think we are also getting comments from the people out there. Some of them are commenting about our chairs that they need to be replaced, and I think someone will that will take care of that, so that really shows that it's a meeting there. Honorable members are meeting. That yes, our communities are poor, but we can't be poor as government to that level, whereby we are unable to replace our own seats. So definitely, I hope that the legislature through the speakership will look into that in terms of replacing this seats, because it is not only from today, and I think these comments are coming even now when you are being watched out there. We can't project, to be poor. Even if things are difficult, we must find a way of really looking after ourselves. That is how we were brought up. You can't be proud of being poor. We want to take, issues of poverty out of our people. So when we ourselves look so much affected by this poverty, it can also be difficult for us to take, to deal with that problem of poverty. Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank to everyone. And let's go up there and work very hard. And the MEC meet you at Bafana. Announcement?
Yeah, I'm going to announcement, we've got tickets for members of the portfolio committee.
Oh, that's okay.
Image of Mo Gaddafi, the PA will, but you have to sign for it because we must keep records. That's part of our committee.
Accountability.
Those tickets should also not reflect
We don't know whether we're going to the, what do you call it? Extra
No, it's
people.
No,
It's VIP. And lunch is ready, but there are people out there want to join lunch with us. It's time for us to go for lunch. Thank you very much.